patient, but now we take it. Anytime we want in this game, my situation is entertainment intertwined with information. Alchemist soul, how we move the tassel and roll. It's amazing how we can turn something brass to gold. And we steady making hits. Architect with the prop and the scripts. It's logical that the product will flip. My boy Chef did the lineup, I'm fresh in the bitch. Carnivorous podcast, the newest show on the list. DQ on the boat, so I'm rocking the ship. While the music gon' be dope and the artist legit. Hold my beard, concrete cord, then stepped in the door. See, that's my man and he reppin' for show. And true saviors, a player with flavor. Lexicon Taylor, lines on point like a laser. We need that paper, we building the vault. Cause you niggas don't listen, y'all be waiting to talk. Lack accountability and try to make it our fault. But opposing us is trying to arm wrestle the hawk. You coming up short on your re-up, nigga we up. Really wouldn't want to be up. I kick my feet up. My beef is wagyu and my trunk is all speakers. Bills is all blue and my blunt is all reefer. With plausible deniability, that boy eater. High quality whack juice by the liter. They like to call us ops, we got Oppenheimer features. That's the bomb out on the island just to teach you.
Quanboy EP by DQ Hampton. From Waco to the world, Quanboy EP is the raw, unapologetic soundtrack of a country boy turned city king. DQ Hampton blends southern grit with East Coast wit, delivering a project that reflects his hustle, his risks, and his relentless ambition. This EP isn't just music, it's a statement. With hard-hitting beats, intricate wordplay, and a vibe that moves from smoked-out introspection to high-energy motivation. Quanboy EP takes you on a journey through DQ's life, where every bar is a lesson and every hook is a moment. From the deep bass lines that shake the block to smooth melodic storytelling, this project showcases why DQ Hampton is a force in the game. No gimmicks, just real music for real ones. Whether you're chasing paper, zoning out, or grinding in silence, Quanboy EP is here to set the tone. Welcome to the next chapter. Welcome to Quanboy.
When a nigga had a brand new Cadillac and a whole bunch of hoes in it, he was smooth as ice. Smooth as ice. It was smooth as silk, baby. He was good. Yeah. I see him put it up, put it down. He gotta go down, he rise up. He moved from town to town, place to place, city to city. Nigga got around. Nigga got around. Oh yeah. I go to New York, I hear his name. Yeah. I go to Cleveland, I hear his name. Chicago, I put his name down. They know it.
Chill with the babbling, nigga known for the traveling. Like I can't dribble, I'm hitting hoes with the javelin. Put it in the middle, I'm steady roaming like Vatican. Syllabus and cannabis pimping, I'm now establishing. Wolf out the pack, I'm catching stallions straggling. Pussy dead stock, I'm ripping hoes out the packaging. Points that I'm averaging, think Kyrie is passing them the ball. Watch me ball on niggas, it's so spectacular. They ill advised. Stepping in no shit because I'm hella wise. Serving up this pimpin' like some curly fries. They gush chicken, gripping on some girly thighs. Fried like some pickles when I swing and glide. Having conversations, entertaining vibes. I peep her body language and she peeping mine. I ask if she hungry, she say what's her rhyme. I crack a smile and give her ass some curly fries. Said it's such a spectacular feeling. Real rap, no cap, I'll be macking these women. Shiesty down, condom on, I'm attacking that kid. Rent paid, stomach full, spectacular living. Ha, say my closet is hated by people. The fox fur got them hotter than plated fajitas. Parallel when I park and they pay in the middle. My 2 cents that I give belong to museum.
When a nigga had a brand new Cadillac and a whole bunch of hoes in it, he was smooth as ice. Smooth as ice. It was smooth as silk, baby. He was good. Yeah. I see him put it up, put it down. He gotta go down, he rise up. He moved from town to town, place to place, city to city. Nigga got around. Nigga got around. I go to New York, I hear his name. Yeah. I go to Cleveland, I hear his name. Chicago, I put his name down. They know it.
They ill advised. Ain't stepping in no shit because I'm hella wise. Serving up this pimpin' like some curly fries. They gush chicken, gripping on some girly thighs. Fried like some pickles when I swing and glide. Having conversations, entertaining vibes. I peep her body language and she peeping mine. I ask if she hungry, she say what's her rhyme. I crack a smile and give her ass some curly fries.
And if you think I'm here to play around with y'all, God damn it, I'm not.
Man, what's up with y'all out there in YouTube land? Man, I think True Story and nailed it when he said, the wokes is be tripping, man. They do be going too hard in the paint. Half of them don't even know what the ideologies are about. They just got a few names, a few figures, a few books in their head, and don't even really know what they pushing. Now, me personally, like I have my reserves about it. I actually have some things I like about it too, right? But I brought Khayyal because I know that he has a similar disposition with the whole take on it, right? And plus he articulates it well. So that's another thing that I really like about the way he voices his disagreements, because I think that's really all about. I'm not necessarily disagreeing in the with the spirit of I'm trying to tear it down, but like yeah, I guess at some point the frustration probably comes out in why isn't this working, or what is it even supposed to do, right? So you get into those kind of conversations, and I'm gonna let him lay out his premise, and then I'm gonna get into what mine is. But go ahead and introduce yourself, Khayyal.
What's happening, y'all? It's Khayyal,
You're a little
official long. Oh, you can't hear me now?
A little bit better. Yeah.
All right, let me turn my mic up. All right, I'm an official loner. I be in the I'm a chatty patty, but I got a lot on my mind. I like to express myself sometimes, and I appreciate Lottie for the invite to come on. And I just want to have a conversation with y'all, man. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, it's something. I thought you was finished. Go ahead. We done?
No, you good. You good. I can talk.
I think it's something that we need to talk about specifically more, right? Because I think we're kind of like dragged into these conversations about trying to dispel information or correct it, and I don't really think that's important. I think the reason why people bring up these arguments seems to be more important, right? And there's a firm distinction, a very clear line as to why the elders did it and why people do it today, right? We were talking about that a little bit in the back, and I think that there's an unclear separation on how do we critique and use that information moving forward, the parts that are good, the parts that are bad. How do we talk about it in ways where it's healthy, where we actually get something out of it? And we don't do that enough, right? We sit around and show all the aerodynamics of why flat earth is wrong, or we talk about the genetics of why Black Egypt is wrong. And I don't think that that's why people are saying what they're saying. They're not saying what they're saying or they think it's right. They are incorporating that into their empowerment, right? They're incorporating that into their self-talk, right? This is a little bit more about self-value than I think people realize. But again, I don't want to slow you down. You say you got some slides. I'm gonna let you talk, and then I'm gonna come back.
Now I'm actually listening to you, and I want to change that up actually. So I got slides already. I was gonna just present like a few slides, but I think it may be more beneficial to present the slides and talk about it so we can talk through what that actually means and how we can apply that in our real and everyday lives. So it may be a little bit more beneficial for the conversation. So if anybody wants to join, y'all can hop up here, and we can engage these points, because no one wants to be lectured to. That's not what I'm here for. I ain't here to lecture. I'm your brother. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm saying something wrong or something that you don't feel like is a good idea, why wait to the end and throw 5,000 questions at me or whatever? Let's get to the nitty gritty, man, because at the end of the day, it's all about us, you know what I'm saying? And the people who got to save us is us, and I kind of want to get to that. Let me share my screen if you don't mind. And where are my slides? I'm just gonna share my whole screen.
Does it let you?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
I'm just gonna share my entire screen. It just flip screens off. All right, so I just put together a quick little something. This ain't nothing crazy. It ain't no peer review. This is just my thoughts, right? So hop on if y'all got questions, but this is just me saying my piece. So the title of this is "Be the Change That You Want to See," and today we're going to be talking specifically around civics. So before we have a discussion about anything, it's wise to define the topic at hand. So civics is the study or science of the privileges and obligations of citizens. Civic education is the study of theoretical, political, and practical aspects of citizenship, as it as well as its rights and its duties. So at that point, this is a key point to me, because being a citizen, or being having a citizenship to a country, the duty is on you to be successful in that country. The duty is up to you to navigate that system. It's not the country's duty. It's not the neighborhood's duty. Their duty is to make it capable. I mean, give you the ability to climb upward within that society. Their ability is to lay down a path that allows you to travel it, but it's not to do it for you. If you want safe neighborhoods, it's your duty to be involved. It's your duty to have police chiefs that you elect, and officials, and these are the things that me, you, everybody, we're responsible for doing that. And I think a lot of times in the community as a whole, we're stuck with the Pan-African, and we kind of touched on that the last time I was on here, mindset of no involvement, right? And that doesn't make you a better community. It doesn't make you a productive citizen if you're not even involved in your immediate surroundings with you. Now, we can pause there. If you got a question, you can hop in, just let me know. But
well, I'm a comment. It's not necessarily a question, right?
Okay.
Every time I hear these conversations, he'd say, "Am I supposed to fix the potholes too?" I'm gonna touch on that, right? But that's a fair point. But every time we seem to have these conversations, typically anything that requires action other than the YouTube, it seems like it doesn't really it kind of gets glossed over, right? It seems like it gets put to the background, or minimalized, you know what I'm saying, as if, and they do it with a technique, right? Well, they'll throw more problems at you. They'll say, well, when we tried that, this person died, or when the last time that happened, this happened, and they stop us every single time. Well, ironically, I think that's like a life lesson, right? Because when does that not happen? In what arena can you think of where you're trying to accomplish something that's worthwhile and you don't run into some kind of adversity? Like, it's normal, right? And I think like the benefit of being in 2025 is those consequences, or those adversities, I should say, for trying to get better standing here in America, typically aren't lethal, right? Typically, they're not a mortal thing that you have to deal with. If your feelings get hurt because somebody tells you no, I would say that was a good day in all reality, right? Because your feelings will heal, and at the end of the day, you can get back up and keep trying. So we're not looking at water hoses and canines trying to bite us, right? We're actually in a situation where people have put in the work for us to be able to do these civic duties where you're talking about, right? Where we have enough freedom, and we're actually able to get enough resources to where we can particularly make a difference in our immediate environment, right? Hit said something about fixing the potholes. Well, of course, us, the people, typically aren't going to be responsible, and I don't think you can even tamper with the street like that, because it doesn't belong to you technically. So at the end of the day, again, something that requires action. I'm not going to get into it too far, but we need more questions like that, right? So if I were to ask you, or anybody out there, how would you go about fixing a pothole in your street?
Yeah.
Would you immediately go to some Pan-African talking point?
No,
I mean, think about how logical that would be to solve that problem.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing about civics, right? So if you're involved and you're an active participant in your own community, that means that you probably are involved in the city council meetings, right? You know what I'm saying? And the people on that city council meeting are also just like us, and we want to be involved in our city council meeting. So if you push those issues through your local governing bodies, which is your city council, then those issues get addressed faster. So those potholes do get fixed because people are complaining about the potholes. But if you don't go to the meeting and the people in your area's delegates do not live in your actual side of town or on that particular street and haven't experienced that pothole, how would they know? You see what I'm saying? It's the same way with anything else. The more you're involved, the more you voice your opinion, because again, this is a democracy. You know what I'm saying? Now you can vote people in, vote them out, and then they have to represent your best interests. And if your interests are not being articulated to these individuals, how do they know there's a problem? And the thing is, when you got people that are from your community standing for what's best for that community, those problems get solved a whole lot faster, and a lot more urgency is pushed in with that narrative. I mean, so that's just it, man. It just if you got any additional questions, you can ask them. But
No, I mean the words are right there, right? Political, practical aspects of citizenship. Now, those are things. If we were talking about, the 1800s, 1700s, that wouldn't even be an option for us, right? The fact that we're in 2025, it says that those are options that are available to us to help solve our problems. So, and just to make it short, I feel like a part of the critique that I want to bring to the table is how far away from our civic duties, right, that when you become too Pan-African, it takes you, right? It tells you that you can't trust these same people that are collecting your tax dollars or being elected. So when would you ever feel comfortable writing one of them a letter or going to City Hall at the city council meeting where your voice is not heard, right? At least according to the rhetoric. Right, they hear you, but they're not really doing anything about it. But at the same time, we the people are actually the ones with the power, right? This, it's going to stem to a much larger conversation when we're talking about, a national and federal things, because you were looking at an administration right now that should be case in point of how we owe it to ourselves to participate in our civic duties, right? You can't complain about change and don't participate. At that point, you might as well just be an audience member and proactive to everything that happens to you around the world. And however you feel about it, you feel about it, but don't get involved.
Exactly. Don't just stay over there. So everything that we just kind of talked about, they actually brought forth during the advancement of the civil rights movement. So Black civil engagement and activism was the governing force behind that entire thing, shaping the American society and leading to significant advancements in civil rights, voting rights, social justice, and also highlighting inequalities in our particular system, and the ongoing struggle for equality. So the civil rights movement is what pushed forth these things for our community. This is a form of civil engagement. And the next slide that I have, I kind of want to dive into how those things push our current reality for us. So what they did was they actually did policy reform. So the Black civic engagement led to reforms in areas like criminal justice. We can all talk about that. Education, economic opportunity, and addressing systematic issues like systematic racism, the structuring of, this is a whole nother conversation we can kind of dive into, is that being that we come from or descend from enslaved people, a lot of those precursor stages of the Industrial Revolution, we were not necessarily benefiting from. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that gives us a great disadvantage, but it also is the foundation and building blocks of what we call systematic racism, right? Because that racism is not something that people have to actively do, because it's a system that existed prior to our participation in it. You see what I'm saying? So now businesses, the major companies, got to establish their hierarchy, their chain of command, their logistics, the just everything that will run a functional company before introducing us into it, right? So now these businesses, they have alliances, allegiances, and things of that sort. So it makes it more difficult for us to break through those certain areas. And so, like, it'll be a fool to say that that stuff doesn't exist. But one thing that does give us the opportunity is our ability to have policy reform. Things like affirmative action that was definitely beneficial for us, got us in the workforce, and now we're having things that's being rolled back, like DEI by Trump. Some of y'all voted for that, but hey, I ain't gonna go there. We also have the next thing is political representation. So, like, again, Black Americans, we've made strides in the political representation with increasing numbers of Black elected officials on local, state, and also federal level. So now we have people that start to look more and more like us. They came from the same type of environment. They have more relevant issues. We can see that with HR 40 being pushed again as of last month for reconsideration. They're working on, I think right now they got 16, 17 more months to be finalized with it before they move it for their Senate vote. So that's the benefit of involvement. We have people that are putting the paper right in front of their face, like, hey, sign off on this. I need your approval. I need the okay to do stuff like that. And that's the importance of us being involved in these systems. Then you also have the social justice movements. Some people don't like Black Lives Matter, but what it actually did, it made people listen. It may have not been as effective outside of that, but it made people understand that these people are pissed the hell off. These people feel like America is wronging them, and there is in fact police brutality, and we need to address this because we do not need a hotbed. And those are the things, no matter what the method is, when there's an injustice in this society, for one, it's an injustice for all. So when we have these injustices, don't make a Facebook post about it. Go do something to hurt these people's pockets. Go hurt the way they can commute. These are the things that social justice movement brings forward for us, right?
I think that's a Martin Luther King quote that you was paraphrasing right there. I think his quote is, "An injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere," right? Which is really powerful when you really consider exactly the magnitude of what he's saying, and of course the social climate. I think he was in Birmingham jail when he said that too, right? So, but you're absolutely right. And to be perfectly honest, I feel like YouTube is such a missed opportunity for people who I can tell genuinely really care, right? Like, in all seriousness, the enthusiasm isn't what is lacking, right? The voice is being heard, but by who, right? It's like we're not necessarily. We could take this same grievance that we had right down to City Hall and be speaking to somebody who can potentially change that thing that you're upset about, right?
Exactly.
And I feel like we don't use our voice effectively as a community. And I'm not saying everybody, that's a very broad sweeping statement, but I'm particularly talking about people in this conscious community, again, who I can tell are very adamant. They're very emotional about furthering the position of Black people here in America, which I feel like is very, I admire it. I think it's a beautiful thing to see our people on that accord together in a large number. What pains me is that we don't discuss doing it effectively. We discuss all the things that they've been doing for like 50 years, and it's like not even not working is like an understatement. You know what I'm saying? It's not even participating. Like, it's not even taking the first necessary step. Remember the pothole? How many of them conversations fix a pothole? Does Flat Earth fix a pothole? Does Africa fix a pothole? Like, none of it.
No.
Like it again, like you could be talking about a scenario about a conversation that has lasted longer than 10 years and a pothole that ain't got fixed in 10 years. So we can't fix a pothole in the middle of the street, but we gonna save Africa.
Peace, family. And may I jump in with a brief point?
Oh, of course. What's up, brother?
Peace, family. And I'm doing well. Thanks for having me up. I hope y'all doing well. And I just want to make a brief point. If we, and when I say we, I'm speaking about descendants of U.S. chattel slaves, if we don't seize the day and seize the opportunity to control our local politics, we won't have the opportunity in the future because our city councils and our mayors and our congressional representatives will all be immigrants because that's what's happening due to mass immigration, unchecked mass immigration that the blacks and the mulatto Americans have turned a blind eye to. So
Exactly.
we have to recognize the urgency of taking control over the politics of our communities and our nations. Because if we don't, like I say, our kids, our grandkids, our great grandkids, they won't have the opportunity to grow up in a majority FBA or ADOS community. Really.
Yeah. And another thing to add to that that's being done right now is things like gerrymandering. I'm sure y'all are familiar with that, right?
Yes, exactly.
So, like, I live in Atlanta, Georgia, and I live in Fulton County as well. But something that actually happens is a lot of times, like, when they build out these like districts and stuff like that, they never are squares or circles or whatever like that. They're all zigzag up and down lines, and what they do is they kind of include pockets into the more rich population that would normally be there. Like, for instance, like malls or shopping centers and things like that. A lot of times they write those areas into other areas. You know what I'm saying? And what it does is it extracts the resources from a community and places those resources into a more affluent community for them to take advantage of those resources and tax dollars. So that's something that if we had a lot more local representation, that we could fight back against. You know what I'm saying? Because
Great point.
yeah, I mean, it's stuff like that, and then also, like, opportunity zones that popped up. The opportunity zones really don't give us an opportunity because it's certain, unless you have capital for it. But if you don't have capital for it, now you have people moving into opportunity zones for business for themselves. Those tax dollars that are being generated in that community are then being displaced outside of our community.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it's things like that we can take advantage of, but being that we're not able to take advantage of, or we're just not taking advantage of, those things get removed. So now the school districts are suffering because of what used to be a staple of the community, this business, now become a Starbucks. That Starbucks reports back to corporate. The corporate's in Arizona. Those dollars then go to Arizona instead of the west side of Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? The Bankhead School District, and you see how those things can kind of add up and become a huger problem or a bigger problem.
Absolutely.
When it kind of multiplies. And think about the localization of businesses in your neighborhood. Are they black businesses, and do those people live in that community? You see what I'm saying? And it's just a multitude of things that we're facing. And the reason we're facing those things is because it kind of goes back to this particular slide right here. If we're not involved in our community, it doesn't mean activity won't happen. It just means that we won't be in charge of the activity that's
Exactly.
Right.
So
Right.
that's a decision.
Well, let me say one thing when you said that, right? Because mulatto made a point I didn't wholeheartedly agree with. I'm not trying to get hung up on where we disagree, but you're absolutely right? Like, if you don't participate, the only thing that you're left with is other people who aren't as closely connected to your predicament and your grievances. You're relying on those people to fix your problems, right?
Exactly.
And that's a huge problem, right? You want to be proactive when it comes to your own movements, right? You want to be proactive as far as like your own progression. You know what things that you would like addressed in what order, right? That's you living in it. You know exactly which direction you want to put your energies into. But don't tell me don't tell the city council member, right? I don't live in your neighborhood. I don't know where the potholes is. I don't know what street corner needs to be cleaned up, so on and so forth. But those are things that you need to take to your local city hall members, right? And if they're not doing nothing, we still got options, right? We can put social pressure on those people. We can use our voice to get what we want, and we could potentially even use platforms like this to really get what we want, but we're not talking to the right people. And unfortunately, I think it, again, I'm going to say, I think it takes us away from doing it that way, right? It does not promote that we go do it that way. It actually demonizes it, right? So when we're talking about why isn't change happening, well, because you're talking to me about change. Like what can I do? I can't fix the pothole any more than you can. We got to get somebody out here.
Yeah, and please allow me to address because both of you made great points, and I want to give real life examples of what you're speaking about. Uh, and I apologize because I don't remember who said what, but one of the brothers, one of you said that if we don't take control, and I'm paraphrasing, of course, but will be subjected to other races that are governing the affairs of our community. Now, and the other brother on the panel brought up gerrymandering, and I'll give a quick anecdotal story to reinforce what you all just said. Now, I'm from, and it'll be brief. I'm from Columbia, Maryland, zip code 21045, a neighborhood called Long Reach, a former slave plantation. Now, we used to have a congressman named Kwaisi Mfume, but the state chose to pardon me, the congressional lines, and now Kwaisi Mfume is no longer the congressman over my community, which is majority African American. And as a result, our new congressman, and keep in mind, Kwaisi Mfume is still in office, but he did not contest against the district lines being drawn. So as a result, me and the descendants of U.S. chattel slaves within my community, we are subjected to a congressman named Sabarnes, which I think he's Greek or Italian. So, and I worked as a lobbyist. When I'm calling his office, let me just say this: when I called Kwaisi and Fume's office, they didn't give a goddamn, pardon my language, but they didn't give a goddamn about our grievances. So if we don't care about our own grievances, you think a Greek/Italian congressman is going to relate to us and care about what's best for our communities? The answer is no. And this stories like this will continue on as long as we decide to not be participants in the electoral process within our own communities.
Yes,
Right.
sir.
And I like the way that you said it because it gives me an opportunity to say it to say it the way I feel like we need to hear it. It's not fair to go as far as to blame us or ourselves, but it is fair to say that there is more we can do to produce more of these politicians that have our interests. There's more that we can do to support these politicians who have our best interests. And they may not even look like us, but that doesn't mean they're not for the working class. They're not for the low income. That could be things that they run their policy on. And then when we get them in office, it's to us to continue to put pressure on them to do what they said they went in there to do. But you can't do that while being on the sidelines. All of those things then
Exactly.
require action every single time, and that's the big point here. That's back on slide one. Like if you are interested in seeing change, your civic duty becomes action, right? And let's not water down activism talking about we reading about Africa, we reading about Egypt. That's not action, right? That's stagnation to the max. Sitting at home reading an Egyptian book will not fix the potholes. I'm keeping that pothole, man. I'm gonna let that fuel my whole thing right there. Like, man, that ain't gonna fix the pothole. It just ain't. It just ain't.
It just ain't. And the reason I use the word blame is because I'm intentionally attempting to galvanize the masses of descendants of U.S. chattel slaves to stand up and do better. Even if you don't like the word blame, with all due respect, I think you at least have to acknowledge that we as a community have to take accountability for our own failures and what we could have done better.
No, I'm not. I'm not saying you can say it however you would say it, right? And even I feel like in my reply, I feel like I can reply and not like take a shot at what you said or how you say it. But in the back of my mind, like a broad sweeping statement like that, I sweep up too many people who did good trying. You know what I'm saying? Died potentially even, right? I can't.
Yes.
I don't. And I gotta be. aware of that. You know, I am aware of that. You know what I'm saying? So
No, I definitely, I
I share
definitely
the
agree.
enthusiasm. Like, you know, even with a conversation I had with Professor James Small, who I disagree with over 95% of the stuff he said, I still got love for him. Right? I still
Yeah,
admire the work that he put in. Right? It's not necessarily about me trying to like tear it down, but it is very fair to say that we could do more, and we need to figure out, you know, to have better conversations so we can explore these options of how we can do more, how we can do it better, more effective, more efficient, and what group of anything in their right mind trying to accomplish something don't do that, right? How many of them? How many of these groups that like I'm not saying groups. Like, let's just say if it were a business, right? We're talking about business. How long can y'all go without updating y'all stuff? Right? Before long, somebody's gonna come along with something new or better, and y'all still 50 years old. People gonna go with the new thing. They're not going with the old thing. The old thing isn't as relevant. It's not as versatile as these other things are that are coming out. You constantly got to be updating it, and that's the same thing with activism, right? Because that's basically what we're talking about. I mean, activism doesn't necessarily mean that you got to go all the way up to Capitol Hill. You can be active. You can be an activist in your own neighborhood, right? You can. That's a thing too. It has many different levels and scales to it, but at the same time, if you're talking about having change, you're going to need some action, right?
Man, look, you can be active because let's think about what we're doing now. The activism is saying, hey, I do not like something, right? The activism could be saying, I don't like the fact that our community is not properly represented with education. So guess what you can do? You can go to school. You know what I'm saying? And that kind of brings me to the next slide with the civil rights movement. They fought for civil rights for everything. These were all encompassing. So activism can participate, it can manifest itself in multiple ways. You know, it's not just standing in the middle of the street and protesting. It's also taking advantage of things that people did not want us in. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's where the real activism is for me, right? Instead of saying, hey, you can't drive down this street, how about you say, hey, I'm gonna go get this degree right in your face? That takes a lot more effort, but
yes, sir. Yes,
it
sir.
has a lot more lasting effect on you and the community, and it gives you long lasting change. You know what I'm saying? And these are the things that they fought for during the civil rights movement and the voting rights act, because they wanted us to have the ability to go in there, get the money, bring it back to your home, and then have the decision making ability to govern your own home. You see what I'm saying? Like that's what the fight was. I'm not sure how it got misconstrued to this feeling of African power and reading a bunch of books. but that's what the mission was. My mother was a part of this, so she told me the mission, and I make her proud by living the mission. You see what I'm saying? That's what we're supposed to be doing. We ain't supposed to be out here arguing and cussing each other out. What we're supposed to be doing is protesting every day, getting them babies in college, getting them babies graduated, helping them babies get their own trade, get their trades together, help them babies start a business so that they don't have to rely on people. You know what I'm saying? We rely on each other as a family.
You cooking, bro?
Family is part of the community, and the community represents us, and we want to control that, right? That would be the ideal that they had when they was marching, when they was getting maced and having dogs sit on them and stuff like that. They was marching for that. You see what I'm saying? And I don't know what the hell this Pan-Africanism is about. No involvement in America, and the white man is oppressing us. No, you oppressing us, niggas. Y'all niggas are oppressing us. You oppressing yourself first and foremost because you don't even believe that you can do the thing. White supremacy has integrated itself into a lot of our people's daily thought to the point where they don't even believe that they're free. There's an old African proverb. It was about a little elephant that at his birth they tied a rope around his foot, right? And that little elephant, no matter how big you knew it was gonna grow, when he was a small elephant, he couldn't break free of that stake that was tied to the ground. And as he grew, he started to struggle against the stake, and he stopped trying to move it. But when that elephant was full grown, he could have done anything he wanted to do. But he was so broken mentally that he didn't even try to. And that's what I see as Black people a lot of times on the internet. I don't really see them in real life because I be around a lot of real successful people. I'm probably the least successful people in my circle.
You got a good friend circle.
Man, look, you got to have a good friend circle too, because your friends represent who you are and who you will be. You know what I'm saying? And that's need to hit on there. But these are things that we need to do and teach. You know what I'm saying? We have programs, and all the programs that Black people have made for other Black people. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. People on the internet bash this program simply because it's a Greek letter African organization, right? But they don't understand what these people have done over their course of history of existence. We go back to the 1910, but 1920s, we was in civil rights. We was getting the Black lawyers involved. We was dealing. The matter of fact, we did the first case before Brown versus the Board of Education. We did the precursor case for that and won it. This is why Brown versus the Board of Education even got pushed, because it was pushed on the back of that other case. And like, these type of organizations are what we demonize. Like, everything that's good, we somehow have flipped that around with this super Black African mentality about we can't do anything in America. Bro, we can do whatever we want to in America because we are African American. This is our culture. We get to create it ourselves. But anyway.
No, I love how you explained it, right? You can, and I'm not using the word minimalistically, right? I'm not trying to minimalize what you're saying, but you can minimalize activism down to just your daily actions, right? You going to school and getting your degree could be your form of protest. You going to that voting poll and casting your vote and using your voice could be your form of protest. So we have some kind of way unknowingly dumbed down real activism, things that really cause change, into Pan-Africanism.
Yep.
Right? We have distorted it to a place where it doesn't even work anymore.
Yep.
Right? That we're so far away from the mark that we damn near shouldn't expect social change because we're not doing anything to cause it. Like, we're not even making any noise. Like, who would get upset about you really saying the Egyptians is Black? What is that really doing? You not getting on nobody's nerves with that, unfortunately, but ours. Like, right? Like, you're not doing anything but like you're confusing yourself, and you're taking your efforts, be they good intentioned or not, away from that pothole in Miller Street, and now you're putting it way over there in Africa where it literally doesn't do you any good here in America. Like I said, it seems that, I don't know, it seems so obvious to me that it's like, I wish more people could understand it in that way, right? Instead of and just getting kind of like caught up in these conversations about, is it true, is it real, or blah blah blah. Let's fix the pothole, right? If we're talking about Black Egypt, right, then you're assuming it fixed the pothole. Explain, how does it fix the pothole? Because you've expressed that you feel as though it will eventually fix the pothole. So let's work through that, right? You could be right in some strange capacity, but let's talk about how it fixes the pothole, and not, is it true?
Mm-hmm.
It being true is completely irrelevant. Now hold up, before you get back going. Matter of fact, I want you to say your spiel, and then when you get done, I'm gonna run my commercial. Then I'm gonna introduce you, Steph. I appreciate you being patient up here.
Okay. Now, what you were saying, it actually ties into the next thing, as far as like how we view Black history. We view the romanticized version of Black history, but we don't necessarily break down what was going on with the civic engagement. I've never heard anybody talk about what the civic engagement, like what the people did. We talk about how great they were. Oh, they built this, they did that. But how did they do it? And so, like, when you learn about Black history, instead of learning about all the great things they built, let's learn about how the community was formed. About the Odanani. Like, not Odanani, but I forgot the name of it. But the society in Yoruba land, I should probably know this, that actually governed the different people. You know what I'm saying? That like these are things that we need to be studying and understanding. Well, you may not be able to apply everything here, but it could be a motivation for you to create something in our own system. And this is what the next point is: promoting critical thinking. You know what I'm saying? Because we got to understand that there's a difference in how we address our everyday life in 2025 versus how people address everyday life in 1940. You know what I'm saying? Like we definitely live in different times. You know what I'm saying? And that's where the critical thinking portion is. And then we got to kind of use those abilities to critical think, be empowered to foster what is the civic engagement, to motivate them appropriately to be a productive part of their own community and grow that community into statewide participation, and then federal participation once we get leaders at all those different levels. But you can go ahead and go to commercial.
Yes, sir. And I'm definitely, and a shout out to my man DQ, man. He's doing a lot of hard work in the background. And honestly, like, man, the dude's super duper talented. I can't wait till he catches the right person's ear, because I know it's coming. He's doing all the right things, and I support the brother like full-heartedly. I mean, immensely talented. I'm like beyond impressed. And, of course, he's just a down-to-earth, cool dude. You know what I'm saying? That's cool to have access to somebody like that, man. So let me go ahead and run the commercial. And I'm definitely keeping in mind the CEO of our company, my friend, my cousin, Uncle Hits, right? We just had a meeting, and I was on the hot seat about not playing enough commercials, man. So I definitely got it. I'll make sure I'm doing my thing this week.
Trimedia Records.
What is that? We are fucking back. What is that? Fucking feeling good. What's it?
Check.
It's a fucking killer.
This that motion, when I flow this shit. Nigga just so legit. You damn boy if you sliding. How many hoes you get? Me? Baby, on my dick smelling like the coldest scene. Looking good, that wood filled with the animal clover mix. When I pop that shit, it's the oldest trick. Literal coldest sin. Baby, text me since you got a bone up pick. I'ma pull up on the bitch. Holy shit, notice the golden bonus that's on this wrist. On the trip, with no chips. Bitch, where the police be. Back to the session at hand. There go that man.
Want to grow your brand? Advertise with Trimedia. Reach thousands on YouTube, social media, and more. Targeted, effective, affordable. Contact Trimedia today and get noticed where it matters.
Appreciate y'all's patience, man. Welcome back. Hey, Hits, if you wouldn't mind, man, I couldn't figure out how to drop the Discord link in the chat while we were playing the commercials. Could you drop that for me when you get a chance? Well, what's up, Steph? I appreciate you coming up too, man. I see you was you had some stuff you wanted to be able to say in the chat. Add something to the show. How you feel about the presentation so far? You on mute?
I can't hear you.
My
What's
bad.
up?
What's good, y'all?
What's up with the shirt?
What's up, bro?
Um, but trying to remember everything y'all talking. I'm getting old, man. I'm getting up there.
It's all good. It's all good.
But what's good with y'all though?
Nah, we just chilling, man, having a little friendly conversation. Hopefully it rubs people. Wow, hopefully it doesn't, make people too upset. But at the same time, it's supposed to kind of make you think, right? This is supposed to knock people off their center just a little bit, right? We're looking for more of an
Right,
adjustment, not like a tear down type of thing. So
for sure. I agree with that. I think like, man, your statement you've been dropping, fix the potholes. I think you got to keep that, brother.
I
Stick
got
with
to keep.
that. I like that. But I think it definitely, resonates in a real way to the whole Black Egypt, and not just that. Even like fast forward to like now with the whole the whole Indian movement and all that stuff is really hindering our people as a whole. It's really holding us back in terms of forward progress, um, economically, and even just on a social level. Um, it's not progressive. It's just not. You know what I mean? And um, I forgot which one of y'all mentioned it, but um, people. I'm pretty sure people just sit back and laughing. You know what I mean, at these conversations, um, just because of uh, the lack of severity that the topic is. You know what I mean? And then when you factor in where we are, um, on the economic level and within this country, you know what I mean. We have a lot more to address than my bad, y'all.
No, you're
than
doing good. Go ahead.
than Black Egypt or Black Egypt. But then, so also, but like you said, let's say that topic was pertinent or prevalent to our people, to our story or our history, right?
Hmm.
How does that then translate to fixing the potholes? You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
let's tie that in, because what I want to know is, and I'm sure a lot of these younger cats, like my age and down, you know, they looking at you like, all right, well, what you got to offer? You know what I mean? And I heard, my bad if I'm rambling, but
Do you think?
I heard a while back, man, that you know it's one thing for a older cat or a OG to to be popping in or giving game, but it's a whole nother thing to be able to put something in a youngin' pocket or put something on him where he can go get something. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
so just being an old head out here popping it on the internet or on the streets or whatever, it ain't too many young cats trying to hear that. You know what I mean? And the reality is, we got more years behind us than in front of us. You know what I mean? So um, it's the young cats that's gonna lead our group forward. You know what I mean? So um, it's certain cats that are within the the conscious community or this conversation in particular, like a aunt or chef or whatever, that kind of they engage within the conversation, but it's from a critical thinking standpoint that I think that you mentioned, logic. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, they engage within the topic or the conversation, but it's with pushback, like, okay, are you actually thinking? And you know what I mean? If you are thinking, then how did you come to this conclusion that these people are us, or even they identify themselves as Black people. You know what I mean? How did you get to that? With all the information that we have, how did you get that? You know what I mean? So that I do like, you know what I mean? And so I can actually engage, or at least um, want to even watch, those type of live shows, when that's the topic or the conversation, because it's like, well, at least, it's in terms of, critical thinking and whatever. And so I feel like that'll, that kind of helps um, you mentally or whatever. You can take that and apply it, to something else. But yeah, y'all keep going on. My
No,
bad, y'all.
I
A lot of breath.
appreciate you bringing something, something to the conversation anyway. I could tell you're listening, and that's all I'm really looking for is just to kind of be heard. We'll reach people along the way, but at the same time, my thing is I'm a lot less about how they arrived at that conclusion of them being Black, and I'm a lot more about, as you say, how does that fix the pothole, right? If you an American Indian, or you were the first American Indian, you were the first human ever on Earth, y'all the darkest and the most original and the smartest and jump the highest. How does that fix the pothole though? We still got issues right here on the ground, right outside your front door, right? I've heard somebody describe it as you trying to fix Africa, but you stepping on crack vials in your own neighborhood. Like that's kind of like what we doing. We're beyond putting the cart before the horse, right? And we have a gentleman named Social Dilemma podcast, probably a very nice guy. I'm trying to get him to hit the panel so we can have an open discussion. And I don't want to just be up here able to say what I think, and he not able to say what he thinks. But I really feel like I do this for people like him. Right? I haven't met the man, but I'm rooting for him. You know what I'm saying? If Black, and let me read his statement first. LOL. Everyone attacking Black Egypt or Kemet, or attacking Black Egypt or Kemet, gave people a notion of greatness, something that was beat out of us from the transatlantic slave trade. Let's be real, fam. I'm gonna unpack that real quick, right? So, I'm not attacking Black Egypt. I don't think that that's necessary. I think that I'm really more so trying to pull you out of something that I see that you've found yourself in that clearly is not doing what you think it's doing. And I'll give you an example. I'd say Black Egypt has made you hollow, right? And you probably think it has fulfilled you, right? You saying that that's where your greatness lies. And I'm saying if that's where your greatness is, how does that fix the pothole with your great motherfucking, excuse my language. Well, how does that act? How do I use it? Right? Like what good is your greatness in all reality? Do you get a bump in pay? Right? Does your house get like a wing on it? Does you get a free car with that? Like what does that actually do? It's a hollow achievement. It has made you hollow, right? And not to mention, right? It's such a specific word, your greatness, right? If your greatness is back then, what does that leave for you? Like, can you surpass your greatness? Like, what does it leave for you to do, right, to become great yourself? Because your greatness is back there. They did that. That's long gone and over with at this point. And that's what I mean by it stagnates you. And Pan-Africanism does not give you a plan moving forward. It literally leaves all of your emotions behind you. And look, the real simple version of change and how you kind of go about it is you have to be prudent. You have to be forward thinking, right? Because your problems around you are constantly changing. So if you're not updating with them, you're just going to be reacting to them. And right. And we talked about that a little bit earlier when we were talking about you can't let other groups of people control, what you want to see change in your neighborhood. That doesn't even make sense. You have a right to vote. You have the ability to produce new politicians. You have the ability to go to school yourself. Like, what is it that we are able to do and not doing should be what we're trying to explore or find change in. Like we can control that, right? We can't control if they dig up a mummy tomorrow and he lily white and they say the ancient Egyptians is not white. Did I just steal your greatness? Right? Your greatness has to be something bigger than that. It has to be more tangible, right? And it has to be something that you're currently attempting to achieve. You don't get your greatness necessarily in life all the time. You got to be on the move, right? And at the end of everything that you've done, other people will assess the things that you've done and consider them great. That's how that works. And you can't do that sitting down reading a book. It don't matter which book it is. It don't matter who wrote it. Sar Imhotep, Sheikh Anta Diop, or like any one of the names that you could think of that you hold in such high regard. It won't fix the pothole.
Man, you know, let me tell you something that my mom used to tell me, man. She said, Marcus, your next problem is already preparing for you. What are you know what I'm saying? Like you gotta be ready for tomorrow. And a lot of times when you focus on that problem that already happened, you can't see the problems that are about to happen. You can't see the solution to that problem because that's what foresight is. The ability to look into the future and predict things like these prophets in the Bible and all that type of stuff. In theory, what prophecy is the ability to understand your surroundings and then foresee the future based on trends and societal trends and things that you can see coming for you. You got to be able to observe the world that we live in right now, 2023, and then be so aware of the world you can predict how it's about to change. That's what power is. And you get that power by being in the now. So if you spend all of your life looking backwards, you never see what's right here in front of your face. And right here in front of our face, we got everything that we need except participation from the people. You know what I'm saying? Like if the people did have the things that we could, I hear as complaints about what we need, we would have already been there. I promise you, we would have already been there. You know what I'm saying? Like all this blaming the white man for this and that. Yes, we've addressed that there is something called systemic racism. Is built on the pillars that we was removed from the first stages of industrial revolution. But right now we're in the fourth stage of industrial revolution, and it has just begun. And so the next piece that I want to kind of go into, I will let the brother talk first, but I want to dive into education because that's the way that we get into a pivotal focal point of that next change. Because people, when we change to the steam engine and when we change to the assembly lines and stuff like that, guess who rich now? The people who control those things, the people who manufacture and produce those things. So why wouldn't we educate ourselves and our babies to be those exact same people in the next time? But go ahead, bro.
Khayyal got a phase 2 on y'all. I want to know what Pan-African phase 2 look like. What's up? What's up?
Hey, but listen, I think y'all took what I said out of context.
Who are you?
I think y'all took it out of context when I said it.
Who are you? Who are you?
What's your name in the chat? I'm not sure what you said.
Because what I was saying is that
what's your name?
In the ancestors, that's how they felt. Now it's 2025.
Can you introduce yourself? I've never met you.
Time out. What is your name, G? What's up, Khayyal?
What's happening, bro?
What's your name, bro?
G, my name's Social Dilemma.
Okay.
You trying to figure out who you are? It says Flash on there. We didn't know who you were.
Okay, well that's the name.
Okay. That's what's up. You got your own podcast?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Okay. So what did you say that we took out of context?
What I was saying is that the ancestors was feeling that way.
Okay.
They wanted a sense of knowing their origin. You know, as time passed, it's kind of like it phased out. That's in the past. It's in the future.
Okay. So now you know what? I feel like I know where people are coming from when they say that. And I had like a big issue with that when I first started kind of like encountering this type of conversation. And what I found is that Of course, people need it to different degrees. It depends on what they're trying to accomplish. But a sense of yourself and and that is actually important to humans, right? We practice it in other ways, right? We say, an orphan, they grow up and at some point in their life they become curious as to where they come from, who their people are. They want to know, they want to meet them. That's important. Like that, people get something out of that. And I think it's different for every person, but I think when you examine it in the context of activism, which is what we're talking about here, and what role this this self-identity plays, and I'd say it plays a role, right? Your resilience is definitely tied to your how unshakable certain parts of you are, right? And that's something that can't be removed by simple words or simple actions, right? If you have this foundation of this is me, right? Like I can't just come along and influence you to be something else because you know exactly who and what you are. Like you can't tell me, like you calling me names does not change who I am, right? It's just you expressing how you feel about me, but it does not change who I am, right? You could be coming from a place of not knowing exactly who I am or what I've been through and just calling me names. But so again, which one carries more weight? Your characterization of me or my characterization of myself. Like so yes, you do need that. That does play a role for humans. Now, what the danger is that people tend to overemphasize the role that it plays, right? Once you go beyond resilience, I think that you start to really fall off as far as the effectiveness of you having this sense of knowing who you are and where you're from, right? Or your cultural affinity back to Africa.
I ain't trying to cut you. I got a question for the panel. Where y'all located at, bro? Where y'all from, bro?
I'm from Birmingham, Alabama, but I live in Atlanta.
Okay, you from the South. I'm from Florida.
Okay.
I'm from Florida, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now it's like a different thought process coming from the South.
Yeah.
You know
how so? What do you mean by that?
It's kind of different, bro, because it's like in certain circumstances we still feel that racism here.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying.
So check it out. Hold on. I'm just trying to make a point right quick. So this is the point right here. Like, okay, for instance, I know people want to get, I'm not really into the Egypt thing. I listen all the time. You know what I mean? I listen. I don't do no talking. I just listen to it. But that's something that people just keep kind of like running off with, bro. And it is kind of old. You know what I'm saying? It is kind of old. And I'm coming from a parent. I'm a parent that has my first child in college. So I know it's success, what it means to have, to change the direction of our youth.
Okay.
I understand where y'all coming from. You know what I mean? So it's like we got to reverse this situation where we get stuck in.
Now, so for me, I would say healthy thought process also is a big help, right? You may not necessarily be able to just obtain that through your journey of knowing who you are. So in our day and age, racism is a lot more like adversity than it is, being hung. Like not saying that the two aren't together. You can be hung through other people being racist, but you're going to run into adversity, whether it's racism, whether it's ageism, they're going to discriminate on you for umpteen different reasons, right? That's going to happen. And that doesn't, to me, I would say that you have to compartmentalize that as just adversity, right? It's almost in reality, your response, not saying how you emotionally feel about it, but your response basically needs to be the same as just about any other adversity. If we were talking about going to buy a car and you need a car. We need some social reform. We need to have better neighborhoods. We need more kids in college, right? The first time someone says no, you still need a car. Like, so what do you can't stop there, right? You whether you achieve that goal tomorrow or the next dealership 6 months from now, a year from now, like, you still need a car. So the thing here isn't that what you're saying isn't true, but it's which one do you focus on, right? Do I put my energies into all the adversity stopping me, right? Or do I have enough resilience to say I need to keep going, and I need to figure out how to get me a car? Which dealership do I need to go to? Which salesman do I need to talk to that'll work for me to get there? And that's the attitude that leads to getting you a car. The other attitude, unfortunately, doesn't, right? Like those are the two things that you weigh in there. So you know, like, I mean, I know it's not the pretty argument, but keep going.
Yeah, but I got a question. I got a question.
Go ahead.
Why do you somehow think that your racism and where you at is somehow different than the racism where everybody else at?
Well, can I answer that question? Then you can go. Because I was going to answer, but it was tied into your question too.
Okay, go ahead, Khayyal.
Okay, cool. So, growing up in the South, I think systematic racism is just everywhere in the U.S. Right? That's the system that we were talking about through the Industrial Revolution. They have hierarchy systems already built before we can participate in those systems. Being in the South, you just get reminders that this system exists. Not to saying that, not to minimize it or nothing like that, but like you drive down the block and you see a Confederate flag, or you drive down the block, you see a Make America Great Again hat, or you see a Trump flag outside of a business for no damn reason. These are the reminders that, hey, we got this system in place. I think that will be the difference. I travel up north or down south, but I see way, way, way more reminders in the deep South than I do up north. But that doesn't take away that the same effort, or even more effort, it has to be a mental effort in people in the South to overcome, because those reminders sometimes can break you down and take you off your path and off your purpose. You know what I'm saying? You may have never been called a nigga a day in your life, but you have been reminded that, hey, this is a system that wasn't built in your intention, with intentions for you. You get reminded of that a lot more in the South than you do up north. Now, being that we fought for all these things, I'm not going to let somebody remind me that I'm not able to participate when I know for a fact I am. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the lie that white supremacy tells itself so they can feel better. The same way, and I hate merging the Egypt thing, the same way that we have this thing like, oh, we the ancient Egyptians, we so great. That's our Confederate flag. You know what I'm saying? That's for white people who don't have nothing in life, that's their reminder of we was great at one point in time. We had power over these niggas at one point in time. Excuse my friend, over these black folks at one point in time. That's their reminder because they not putting the effort to become great themselves. Same way with Egypt. Some people need a reminder so they can feel better about their current state. So but Pan-Africanism, from what I've seen, and chematology and Egyptomaniac, I don't see them being the same issue. Now, some people may fuse those, but I've grouped them in separate categories.
Good job.
Khayyal,
I was going to say something about that.
So what?
You say you got a visitor. What's up, C-Dot?
Man, my favorite hater. What's up, C-Dot, man? How you doing?
Yeah, know what's happening now. How you feeling, bro? Hey, that's what I wanted to come up here and address, though, because it seemed as if you guys were mixing up ideologies, and I didn't like it. That's what was you know what I'm saying, kind of confusing me in the chat. Is I was trying to figure out why you guys were kind of mixing ideologies, and I was trying to figure out what your real issue is with Pan-Africanism. That's why I said I don't think you guys really know what Pan-Africanism is, or any of the main qualities for Pan-Africanism, or how it's practiced, or the people that actually, you know what I'm saying, have pushed the line for Pan-Africanism. I don't think that y'all really.
Pan-Africanism ain't even a real thing.
Okay. Right.
I mean, no.
So
The reason why I say that is because before you start saying we mixing up our ideology, I just had a person that y'all would consider as Pan-Africanists tell me that Pan-Africanism, and I mean no disrespect, but I would listen to Professor Smalls, right? While people respect him, they listen to him, and I would listen to Reggie. These are two people that are Pan-Africanists. They can't agree on what Pan-Africanism. We're supposed to follow this thing called Pan-Africanism. They
well,
can't agree on what.
can you
Let me
define
finish.
it?
Let me finish. See that. Let me finish. See that. I know that.
Okay.
I know the Webster's definition. And once
No,
again, I'm not
I
talking
just
to you
want
out
to.
of. No. Listen
No,
to me.
I understand. I'm not saying that you are. I'm just trying to get clarification on exactly what their definitions are, and then what your
Okay. Yeah. That's what
definition
I was
of
about to
Pan
do. That's what I was about to do.
Okay,
So,
I'm sorry.
Pan Africanism. The reason why Pan Africanism I say is not a real thing. And once again, I mean no disrespect. Is because if something means too many things, it means nothing. So when Reggie says he's not, he's a Pan-Africanist, but he would rather be classified as a Black nationalist because he don't agree with the Pan-African as it is today, right? Then on another hand, Dr. Umar is somehow a Pan-Africanist, but he's a deadbeat dad. Then somehow the AU is the version of Pan-Africanism, but they're focused on the countries in Africa, not the African Americans solely. They're focused on what they got going on. And then I got Professor Smalls, who, when we had this conversation on Saturday, I thought that he was going to give us some kind of profound meaning and this, that, and the other. And then he goes into the conversation and says, it's just a concept. So here's the thing. When you want someone to somehow, if we're supposed to somehow unify under this one thing or unify under this one ideology, when I don't even think Pan-Africanism itself understands its own like what it is. Now you can give me
One
definition.
thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Before you get too long-winded, okay?
Oh, no, I'm done. I was done.
I just want to really catch the definition that you're using, because you just brought up a couple different people or a few people that I don't know why you feel like I don't know why you might think that those people are somewhat like the leaders or the faces of Pan-Africanism. I
There is no
don't know
leader.
why that.
There's no
So I don't
leader
know
of
why you would
Pan-Africanism.
use. Okay, cool beans, but I don't know why you would use those people. Like you said, Dr. Reggie, and then you said that he doesn't
Because we're
consider
talking
himself
about
a
because we're
Pan-Africanist.
talking about the
He
conscious
considers
community.
himself
That's
a
only
black.
because
I
we're
got you,
talking
but
about
I just want to speak to the people that you brought up. That's
Okay.
all. I just want to
Go ahead.
clarify, because you use those people as examples and said that's the reason for your confusion, right?
No, in regards to this conversation about the conscious community. So I don't look at them as
Well, we're
leaders.
talking
We're just
about. Well, I'm not
critiquing
just
the
talking
conscious
about.
community.
I got you. I'm not. But I'm not. I'm not just talking about conscious community. I'm talking about Pan-Africanism. Period. Like the whole idea of Pan-Africanism. Like,
Okay, so go
what
ahead.
makes you
What's your
think that
definition?
those three people that you named are founders, or the definition, or the leaders, or the focus of, like, what makes you feel like those people have the say so to tell everyone else what Pan-Africanism is?
Okay, so no, real quick, because the title of the show is critiquing the conscious community. So that's why I could have picked 1,000 other people. I'm just trying to stay. Hold on.
I
I'm trying
got
to.
you. I'm just going off of
Well, you
I'm
can't really get
really
me because I
trying to
ain't
stick
done.
to Pan-Africanism and not really the conscious community, because I don't really care about.
Well, I know you
the
don't
com-
want to.
the
No, listen. I know you don't want
Yeah,
to
I'm
stick
I'm
to it.
just
I'm just sticking to the title of the show. Now, if we're gonna do a full Pan-Africanist conversation, I don't want to take away from Khayyal, because Khayyal's doing a presentation. So when I'm talking about Pan-Africanism in this particular case, I'm just specifically talking about, because we're critiquing the conscious community. That's why I brought up specifically conscious community, people that we would consider Reggie, Professor Smalls, Umar. I guess he would be in there somewhere. And the only reason I brought up the AU is because that's a powerful point, that I think people think the AU is somehow focused on the United States when their main focus is not the United States.
okay. Well, this is my thing, because the only reason
Okay,
I got up on the panel was to actually speak about the Pan-Africanism part. I
go
don't
ahead.
follow Reggie. I don't follow Umar. I don't follow, Dr. Smalls. You know what I mean? None of those are are the people that I go to in order to learn about Pan-Africanism.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I was wondering, like, are those the people that you are putting there in
No.
order to
Just stay into
teach
the
you
title of the
about what
show.
Pan-Africanism
Nope,
is?
just stay into the title of the show.
Okay,
Critiquing the
got you.
conscious community. Yeah.
Got you. So when we talk about Pan-Africanism, back to Pan-Africanism again, we understand that Pan-Africanism is about unity, not only in Africa but throughout the Black African diaspora. We get that that's the center point for Pan Africanism, right? Can we agree on that, or do we disagree?
Say that one more time, please. I just want to understand what you said.
Unification is the core value of Pan Africanism, not only on the continent but throughout the diaspora.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so can you point out the problems with Pan Africanism?
It's disorganized. So when you say, listen, if we're all supposed to unify, right? And I know you point to, now I'm gonna go outside the conscious community. Khayyal, I want you to get back to your presentation. We could do this, C dot. Let's do this quickly so you can get back to this presentation. One of my main concerns, if not the main concern, is this: if somehow all Black people or all African people in the diaspora, or however you want to word it, whatever group you want to take out, right, as far as Pan-Africanism was somehow supposed to unify, I would think that they would have to unify, this is just my opinion, under a specific message, right, or a specific something that's uniform, or, this my original points highlight this, or you're gonna have some people believing or following the unity of one thing, following the unity of another thing, following the unity of, you see how it just goes on and on? Because you said you don't ascribe to Umar, you said you don't ascribe to Umar, Reggie, Smalls, or the AU, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Those are not who I learned about Pan Africanism from.
Okay,
At
cool.
all.
But the AU is at the forefront of unifying the African nations under some group. Now you might not like Dr.
The
Umar,
AU. What?
African Union.
That's not that.
That's not, no, you're gonna say that's not Pan-Africanism, correct? Tell me that the African Union is not Pan-Africanism.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you before.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, my bad. My phone went out. My phone started ringing.
Okay.
No, what I'm telling you is the African Union is not key for Pan Africanism. The African Union is criticized all the time by Pan Africanists in Africa. So no, the African Union is not corely about unification of. It's not corely about the unification of the continent. That's not what the AU is about.
What is the AU about?
If you want to talk about different organizations that are in Africa, certain things that might be ran by like the EFF in South Africa, their core, their one of their core missions is Pan-Africanism. They practice Pan-Africanism in what they do, and they also practice economic freedom. They call it the Economic Freedom Fighters. That's the EFF.
Okay.
Then you have people like PLO Lumumba in the West.
Uh-huh.
That you could go to and actually get a whole lot of information on, and who actually criticizes the AU the most out of all Pan-Africans in Africa. Julius Malema also criticizes him. Criticizes the AU.
No, I get it. Critics critique. Let me say this real quick. Stop me when I'm wrong.
But I'm trying to figure out what made you think that the AU was a Pan-African.
No, because I'm about to tell you why right now. And we're really taking away from Khayyal, but Khayyal, just tell us when to stop. So the African Union, just stop me when I'm wrong. The African Union embodies the principles of Pan-Africanism. Established in 2001 as a successor to the OAU, the AU aims to promote unity, solidarity, and cooperation among African nations. Its formation is rooted in the Pan-African vision of a united and self-reliant continent. Now, let me just say this last thing. The AU's objectives reflect core Pan-African ideals, including the promotion of peace. In essence, the African Union serves as a contemporary manifestation of Pan-Africanism, striving to realize the vision of a united, prosperous, and peaceful Africa. You didn't stop me, so I don't think I said anything wrong.
I was waiting. I typically try to wait on people to finish talking.
Okay, I was done. Is that wrong?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because, like I said, if you follow Africans will tell you that the AU is not focused on Pan Africanism. The
Okay.
AU does not focus. Let me finish. They even go. The majority of the Pan Africans in Africa will tell you that the AU doesn't fight nearly hard enough for Africans or the unification of Africa, especially by deleting borders. They haven't been in discussions of how they can actually get passport-free travel throughout the continent. There's a lot of different things that the AU are not doing in order to actually promote and practice the Pan Africanism that you just read about.
So what y'all are talking about right now is a business term. It's called premature scaling, right? Are you familiar with that term?
Yes.
All right, premature scaling is when you try to overextend yourself. That's basically what it is. It's about trying to do too much when you have too little locally. And so what I would like to interject is the idea or the possibility that maybe Pan-Africanism is prematurely scaling itself before taking care of its local responsibilities and infrastructure to have something beneficial to bring to the larger unity being sought after. And I would say that this, matter of fact, not even I would say, that's the number one killer of businesses and corporations and organizations holistically, is because they try to make them too big, too fast, and they forget those basic steps. And I would charge Pan-Africanism with premature scaling, resulting in the failure of the organization.
It's not an organization, though.
That's
I
the
don't understand. Like it's an ideology. It's not an organization.
This is the Cuban conversation.
This is why I don't
This is the Cuban
understand.
conversation we just had, Logic.
I'm so confused because y'all keep mixing up so much stuff that has nothing to do with Pan Africanism.
Like no reason.
Now you calling it an organization instead of an ideology.
Oh yeah, it ain't
This
an
is the
ideology.
weirdness of it.
Okay, so if it's just an ideology, if it's just an idea or a concept, then everybody can be Pan-Africanist, and there's nothing that you have to do to push forth the agenda of Pan-Africanism except for declare that you're a Pan-Africanist, right? So
no,
I'm saying
you work together.
Okay, well that means you are organizing, right? This is
there's another word for that already out there.
This is foolishness.
So weird.
Yo, bro, chill out.
This is foolishness. Hey, Khayyal, you was doing a great presentation. I don't want to sideline it.
Well, look, just hold on. I got 4 slides.
So what? Well, let me jump down because I was invited up here. I could have stayed down there and let him finish his presentation.
Nobody told you to leave.
Don't leave.
He was up here to present his presentation. Yeah, I want
to just saying. All right, well, let me jump down while y'all do it because I don't want to be in the way, man. You know what I'm saying? I think we got a show coming up in a minute, man.
Black African power, my brother.
I'm wondering. See, who am I talking to? Who's that talking? What's your name, brother?
Brass.
All right, Brass. What do you? Is it something that you present as far as like a counter for Pan-Africanism? It seems like you have the deepest issue with Pan-Africanism.
No, I got a good
one. So what is your
thing?
thing?
I'm about to tell you. Letting Khayyal do these next 4 slides.
Yeah, just let me get through these slides.
Yeah, like I don't.
Hold on. See that I did want to say something before you left, right? So, like you heard what Brass's grievances are. Khayyal is currently expressing his. Mine is really, really simple, right? I can't get people to answer very simple questions about the ideology. Right, we were talking about Pan-Africanism, and not very often were we talking about stuff that helps African Americans. I don't see Pan-Africanism fixing the potholes in the street, dog. Like, why do we need to elect the right mayor or the right police chief or why do we need people here in America to fix these problems? Why isn't Africa over here fixing it? And if not, what's Pan-African about being like if Africa isn't doing it and we're not getting Africa to do it, then what's African about whatever it is you're trying to do?
I don't like what you just said was like so weird. Like if the core ideology to Pan Africanism is unifying, and you telling me that black people over here in America unifying in order to fix the potholes in their communities doesn't make sense to you? Like I don't understand what type of logic are you using? Who should be fixing the potholes?
Logic, let Khayyal logic.
I am just because he said he's gonna leave, and I'm making this
right. Now, see, you gotta make it. Y'all gotta make up y'all mind if y'all gonna let me talk, if y'all want to have a back and forth, or if you're gonna let Khayyal. Because every time I make points for y'all to address, y'all want to move on to Khayyal. You want me to jump down?
Hold on. Let's understand.
Go ahead, jump down.
Yeah, you can jump down.
Okay.
Let's understand the relationship. This show, the title of this show, is a critique of the conscious community, or look at the fruit of the tree. I'm not gonna let this man create a PowerPoint or create slides and then not let him present because we feel like getting sidetracked. Let him present his information, and then we can go back into talking about how Pan-Africanism isn't real. And by the way, in the chat, Haiti was most certainly rejected by the AU. There's an article within the African Union that only African nations can join the AU, and that's why they was rejected. Just go look it up. Matter of fact, the article number is Article 29.1 of their Constitutive Act. Only African states are eligible for membership. Their request was not ratified. Go ahead. See, I could serve through a thumbnail, Khayyal. I'm a bad man, bro.
All right. So that actually was a good segue. It showed the reason for having a system, right? So the system that I've laid out is civic involvement, right? And the final portion of civic involvement is education, right? This is the one that is where the brakes meet the whatever is it, the rubber meets the road. This is the portion that we all have to partake in order to better ourselves, so that now our society can move forward. Because we got the protest, and we can protest by education, we can protest by going into businesses, we can protest by walking on the street, we can protest by not doing things, but we can also protest by doing things. Now, the thing that we can do to better benefit ourselves is educate ourselves. Education empowers African American communities by fostering economic opportunity, promoting social mobility, and strengthening civic engagement, ultimately contributing to a more equitable and thriving society. There we have it, right? So let's talk more about economic empowerment first and foremost. So once you get properly educated, you now have additional skills, and then you get increasing job opportunities. Education equips individuals with the skills necessary to secure better paying jobs and advance their careers. What do you do when you get better paying jobs? Now you have the ability to take care of your family at higher levels. And it you can remove yourself from situations where you have to be in dire straits and do things that may end up in jail or be things that are unfavorable. This is why education is so important for us. And this is also why education, not having education in our community is so important for other races of people, because this gives them an advantage. Now, how do we fight against that? We educate ourselves appropriately, because the education also gives you the ability for entrepreneurship and business ownership. Entrepreneurship is something that I think all of us are pushing, to our community and our kids. Education can inspire and enable individuals to start their own businesses, create jobs. You not only can create a job for yourself, but you can create jobs for your family or your friends, or you can start hiring people within your community to promote the economic growth within your community. And access to higher education is the last thing that economic empowerment does. Higher education opens doors for specialized fields like aeronautics, engineering, doctor, medical fields, and just in general, and also leadership roles. Leadership roles mean like leadership in your community, in your region, and also leadership roles with international beings. So they have things that you can do to get international degrees in business. That means you can do business. You'll know the tariff laws. You'll know the trade, import, export laws. So now you can do business with Africa if you decide to. You know, these are things that you can empower yourself for. These are things that we need in the community. And I'm not even saying that these things aren't already done, because we definitely have them. That's what the funny part is. We have all these things. We just don't have them in great numbers. And we need more people to push themselves into these fields because the doors are open for us. Let's talk about social mobility next. Breaking the cycle of poverty. Education helps individuals escape poverty and improve their standard of living, creating opportunities for their families and future generations. Access to resources and opportunities. Education provides access to information, networks, resources that can help individuals navigate complex systems and advance in society. Lastly, building stronger communities. Education can foster a sense of community pride. This is what we all want, right? We want that pride that comes with Pan-Africanism. Education is what gives you that. Education can foster a sense of community pride and belonging, leading to greater social cohesion and positive outcomes. Lastly, what it does, it also addresses systemic issues. It gives you equitable funding for schools. So now think about it for a second, and holistically, now you have an influx of people who are highly educated within your community. They make more money, so they pay more taxes. They can buy larger houses. Now that community, it gets more tax dollars put back into the community for education for the future generations of kids. Ensuring that schools serving African American students are adequately funded is crucial for providing quality education and closing achievement gaps for our youth. Secondly, addressing racial bias in education. If you have education providers that look just like you, then you typically are more inept to learn from those individuals. I believe I saw a study last week where only 8% of all teachers in America are African American males. But guess who are half the population in schools across America? Across our communities? Half of those, which is 50%, are African American males. So it's a disparity. So a lot of those kids may not identify with the source of the education. And we need to get more people in that particular field. Thirdly, culturally responsive teaching. Teachers should be trained to understand and respond to the unique needs and experience of African American students. If you have someone from that community or that can relate to that community, their information will be received better from the students in that community. Now, once you get that brotherhood or that cohesion, now you have the ability to open up mentorship and support network. Mentorship happens in middle school, high school, and also the collegiate and post-collegiate ages. And then you transition into a support network. This is why Greek fraternities and sororities and different secret societies are so important for us, because now you have a support network. Things like the National Society of Black Engineers, the Black the Black Water Professional Association. You have the Black Energy Workers Association. You have a lot of associations that you can attach yourself with. So now you have support networks of people that look just like you that will help you and want to help you push your career forward in the right direction, and they always extend that arm for you. And I believe that's my last slide, but I just want to zip through that. And I know I want to come back and argue. So
leave that last one up for a second. That's a good
okay.
Story. But
amazing job, Khayyal.
Yeah, I appreciate you.
We appreciate you actually brought information.
We were talking over each other. Go ahead, Brad. My bad.
No, I was saying I appreciate the fact that you actually brought information. It's not just a conversation. You structured it. I could tell you went to college. I could tell that you actually know how to do discourse. I don't want to argue. You know what I mean? That's not that. I don't want to demean that. This is logic. I'm just up here for support. But amazing presentation. Go ahead, Lodge.
and on short notice too. I really appreciate you taking the time to put this together. And you're right, people do like the visuals, and this was actually really helpful. I I'm almost a little like I feel like I need to do more of this. Like this made the show look good. It made the message really clear, and I think it looks professional, which is what we're really trying to get across here. At the end of the day, and we had a really, really helpful conversation. It was fruitful, right? And I'm gonna shoot the commercial break real quick, and I'm gonna give a little bit more of my stance on a lot of this stuff, which is a little bit more of just from my experiences, a little bit more freestyle. I didn't come as organized and prepared as Khayyal did, but I'm still just as fired up. So let me go ahead and pay the bills right quick, and I'm gonna get into it. Pause.
Quamboy EP by DQ Hampton. From Waco to the world, Quamboy EP is the raw, unapologetic soundtrack of a country boy turned city king. DQ Hampton blends southern grit with East Coast wit, delivering a project that reflects his hustle, his risks, and his relentless ambition. This EP isn't just music, it's a statement. With hard-hitting beats, intricate wordplay, and a vibe that moves from smoked-out introspection to high-energy motivation. Quamboy EP takes you on a journey through DQ's life, where every bar is a lesson and every hook is a moment. From the deep bass lines that shake the block to smooth melodic storytelling, this project showcases why DQ Hampton is a force in the game. No gimmicks, just real music for real ones. Whether you're chasing paper, zoning out, or grinding in silence, Quamboy EP is here to set the tone. Welcome to the next chapter. Welcome to Quamboy.
What do you stand? We are fucking back. What do you stand? Fuck, I'm feeling good. What's it?
Check.
Bitch, I'm fucking killer.
This that motion, ocean, when I flow this shit. Nigga just so legit. You damn boy if you sliding. How many hoes you get? Me? Baby, on my dick, smelling like the coldest scene. Looking good and wood filled with the animal clover mix. When I pop that shit, it's the oldest trick. Literal coldest shit. Baby, text me since you got a phone up pick. I'ma pull up on the bitch. Holy shit. Notice the golden bonus that's on this wrist. On the tree, with no chills. Bitch, where the police be. But back to the session at hand. There go that man.
Want to grow your brand? Advertise with Trimedia. Reach thousands on YouTube, social media, and more. Targeted, effective, affordable. Contact Trimedia today and get noticed where it matters.
Welcome back. I definitely appreciate y'all, man. It's been, I think it's been a hell of a conversation, right? Thank y'all, everybody who came up and participated. It was definitely appreciated. I think everybody brought something interesting to the conversation. And again, I think the spirit of the whole thing is really what carries the message. And hopefully even for the most staunch Black power, Black militants out there, that there's something in what was said that makes sense to you, right? And I think that that's really why I do it. I'm trying to communicate something that I think is a little bit more directly related to our issues than most of Pan-Africanism, right? Even the one thing that most Pan-Africans agree on, to me, still isn't specific enough as far as to use Pan-Africanism as some kind of ideology or some kind of plan, right? Let's just look at the simple thing of uniting. So let's say we got two broke niggas that unite. Did they increase their buying power?
Not at all.
Not at all. Let's say if it was 10 broke niggas, just being real now, like you still don't have anything more than just, people at that point, right? You and I imagine all 10 of those people brought a skill to the table. Now you've got a potential, something that can happen, right? Like y'all can build something with that. This guy bring this to the table. This guy bring that to the table. And typically, even per people who are broke, I know it's just an example. They bring something to the table, right? But in all reality, you can't come to the table with nothing. And when we're talking about, and this is probably what's going, hit some of y'all the wrong way. When we're talking about the African contributions, right? It does not seem to be that they bring very much to the table, right? Again, let's oversimplify it back to the pothole. And you tell me what Africa can do to fix the pothole without it being sanctioned by America, right? Like it to me, it's really obvious where the effectiveness begins to steeply drop off, right? And then if I'm not incorporating Africa into my plans, then what is Pan-African about what I'm doing, right? It's almost like an unnecessary word, and it's definitely an unnecessary step in getting a better position in America. We don't need to upgrade Africa upgrade Africa first. I put it like that. Even if that is what you're thinking, and we don't need to upgrade Africa first in order for us to take care of our neighborhood, in order for us to fix the pothole in the middle of the street. It's just not necessary, right? So when you start to strip away some of the impractical parts of Pan-Africanism, I think that it becomes so identifiably different that you wouldn't even call it that, right? You would just simply call that participating in America. Now, you can participate in America in a bunch of different ways. It doesn't mean you have to necessarily, be completely entrenched in other people's culture. That's not what being, participating in what America means, right? You can overshoot the mark and try to make the argument that that's what it means, but it don't mean that. You can still be in your pocket, right? Like you can live in whatever neighborhood you want, right? I think what matters even more is where you spend your money, right? Can we agree on something that simple? Can we start off with these passive approaches to how we can actually galvanize? See, like that's a way of pooling what we have together without even have to have a meeting, right? We could have an understanding of you spend your money black, right? That in the next 20, 30, 40 years can have a much larger impact than we going over there and fixing Africa, right? Yeah. That could move a whole lot more than if we get the academia to say the Egyptians is black, or get the government to confess that the earth is flat. Like when we have conversations geared towards how does this relate to power, right?
Yeah. Can you share my screen right quick?
How does this relate to power? How can we use what you're saying right here to fix the potholes? I think if you keep people right down that path, you don't let them veer off into talking about unnecessary stuff in Africa. No, tell me how that helped fix the potholes, and you keep the conversation there long enough, and y'all will start fixing the potholes because y'all came up with so many different angles to attack that problem on. Yeah, it's gonna get fixed. Absolutely. What you sharing here?
Look, what I'm sharing, I'm just sharing a few of the black organizations, because the last thing that I was talking about was mentorship and development programs. And this is just a few of the programs that are out there that like will take you through your matriculation, and once you get to the career field or you're an entrepreneur, these are the groups or the organizations that we have already put together. I'm going to a conference, matter of fact, in 3 weeks. It's the Blacks in Technology Conference. It's in Atlanta, Georgia. It's going to be between 4,000 and 5,000 people there. Like this is where all the Black people that are in technology come for an amazing conference. And like it's stuff like that. I'm a part of a National Society of Black Engineers as well. And so like these are the things that we have right in front of us to help us with our upward mobility through corporate America or through entrepreneurship. We already have it laid out. You know what I'm saying? We don't have to dream about doing things. It's right here for us to do. The actual action on the person is their responsibility to get involved. It's their responsibility to educate yourself and educate your kids. It's your responsibility, people, is our responsibility to be civically involved in the betterment of our own society. This ain't nothing Uncle Sam or the white man owe you or give you. Even if we do get reparations tomorrow, and I hope we get them. Mm-hmm. We still would not be involved. If that makes sense, like you still wouldn't have the thing that we're striving for. You would just be rich and then still giving them your money instead of creating. You know what I'm saying? And this gives us the ability to create. You know what I'm saying? And you can stop sharing my screen now. My bad. I just wanted to show that we already have all of this stuff already laid out. And the only thing that's missing is the participation of the people. That's the part that's frustrating to me.
Nah, I mean, it is frustrating, right? Again, the frustration is like I see the enthusiasm misplaced. I see it as misplaced enthusiasm. The enthusiasm necessary is great. I love to see people passionate about this. But I, as much as I love to see them passionate about it, I hate to see them waste the passion on something as retarded as Egypt, right? Like you have all this passion, and I see you spend months and months and months researching scientific articles about mummies and genetics, but what about the pothole though? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it sounds so simple and crazy. But if you think about it, that's a great example of it not working, right? That's a great example of if we begin the conversation here, right, you can see immediate results, right? Oh wow, that's what I had to do. I had to go to city council meeting and make some noise. And once I got there, I actually learned the name of the elected official, and now he might even refer me to a particular department or another person that I could speak to that with another problem that I may have. Right? He might see my enthusiasm and want to get involved. Right, he's looking for ways to get reelected. So if your voice, right, if you are a part of the people, of course you should be interested in helping you out. And I'm not saying that's going to be the case every time, but for sure you can see a direct line from that conversation to the pothole getting fixed. Unfortunately, I cannot find that same direct line from the Pan-African rhetoric to the pothole. I mean, that's just where the disconnect and the problem is. And again, shout out to the people who do care. At the end of the day, include me in that number. I definitely want to see us use a platform like this for the purpose that it sounds like people are interested in. I don't see these as hobby meetings. I see these as people who really are trying to voice their opinion, and just they get frustrated and they get a bit overwhelmed by all the adversity that we have to deal with. So we come here to fellowship and meet other people who are having the same grievances, but at the same time those conversations typically don't get converted into city hall meetings. They get converted into Israelites, right? It backfires in that particular way where it really takes you further and further away from real solutions and more into a fantasy. I'm not saying that's everybody's experience, but far too often do I see that actually being the case. And we just had a very good conversation, really more of an interview because I really kind of sat back and let him talk, and I tried to have a conversation with Professor Smalls, and he laid out, you got one of your top-notch scholars laying out exactly what it is and what you should do. And I know if you go back and listen to it, you'll be surprised at some of his answers. You'll be surprised at how open he is to using the resources available to him. Right? You would definitely be surprised. Now, some of the stuff, again, I wouldn't agree with everything that he said, but I was thoroughly surprised with a lot of his answers to the questions.
So, hey, amazing job, Khayyal. My brother is a member of that conference. I'm gonna see if y'all could link up. He's coming out of Connecticut to that conference.
Okay, that's what's up, man. Hell yeah, link it
he's
up.
He's an engineer, and my niece in Georgia, she's an engineer also, so I know she's going. So you'll link up with one of the two or both.
Okay.
Also, I want to get that show that we discussed out. You want to talk about it tomorrow? Because I want to at least lock you in for a date so I can start doing some research.
You want to talk about it, like do the presentation and stuff tomorrow, or just like have a
conversation? No. Just have the conversation.
Oh yeah.
Just have the conversation tomorrow. Maybe in the Discord sometime. But fire conversation. Somebody asked us about our logo. Just to be clear, our logo is not a pyramid. Our logo is a triangle. When we looked into getting our logo, everybody thinks our logo is somehow like some kind of symbol or something like that. We knew if you look deeply at the logo, it talks about what we do. There's AI in it. There's music in it. There's conscious community because some of our conversations are going to be that. But it's actually a triangle because when we started Tri Media, it had 3 owners. So the logo was actually made before we incorporated with the 4th owner. So it's not a pyramid. I know that if all you think about is Egypt, that's pretty much what you're gonna come up with. But trust me, in the name is Tri. It was a triangle. So, secondly, and once again, and shouts to Psychopathist. That's somebody I actually respect. I watch his content. Even if I don't watch his content, I'll drop a piece to the chat and a like to the channel. He's one of the channels I'll do that with. I want to give both of y'all a little pushback. Probably you, Logic, more than Khayyal. So I want to be clear in regards to this Egypt conversation. I don't participate in it because I don't study it. So I learned in college, like most people, and Khayyal, you would agree, we can't be geniuses in every subject. Sometimes when people are talking, we need to mute our mic. I don't know about the Green Sahara and bitumen and all that other stuff, so I just stay out of the conversation. Even though I find the arguing entertaining, I don't really find the information entertaining. But and here's the pushback logic. When people start their YouTube channels, they have full license and right to talk about whatever they want to. So if your statement is that maybe they don't talk about civics enough, and it's somebody that you know or something like that, and you're like, well, you're talking about unity, but all you're talking about is Egypt, that's one thing. But for somebody like I'm gonna just using names, not naming anybody, but like Smash, the man studied the Meta for a very long time. I understand why he talks about it. I never really heard him from a civic standpoint. I know Unc is on a civic standpoint, but he talks about Egypt, a lot also. I'm sure Jabari, all these other people within the conscious community or outside of it too. But most time, if a person got a channel, we're not telling you can do whatever you want with your channel. That's your business. I think what the tenor of the conversation is that what we would hope is that the same fervor that you have is one of 2 things. Please don't think that this Egyptian conversation is somehow going to fix a pothole. And then 2, it would be for the same fervor that you have, people might look at you as a leader. You can get people to watch you, maybe take some time and discuss something like civics, see if maybe they have the same interests, or if they don't, you could do that. So this isn't by no means a slight, because some of this stuff can get clipped and people think we're trying to be disrespectful, and that's not us. This is more information. Last thing, shouts to Psychopathist. I appreciate your content. I don't know if you are a Pan-Africanist, but your comments in the chat kind of say that the conscious community doesn't really understand what Pan-Africanism is. I would love to have that conversation with you, because you seem to be a very good brother, and your content is very concise, it's clear. So I would love to have that conversation. That would be dope. And last thing, to highlight the divisions in Pan-Africanism, right? So Khayyal, I'm gonna do a timeline, right? I love talking to certain people because you can understand my quandary. So when you start looking, did you understand? First off, did you understand the conversation I was having, C-Dot? Did you understand my point? Like where I was, what I was trying to say of trying to somehow trying to get unity under something that's completely disorganized and means 100 different things to 100 different people. Yeah. You understand where I was coming from? Mm-hmm. So when you go to 1868, W.E.B. Du Bois, it started with them clashing over strategies of Black advancement with him and Garvey. Du Bois opposed Garvey's Back to Africa movement, favoring integration within existing societies. Then Garvey, he disagreed. He prioritized separation and the creation of a sovereign Black state. Then you had Kwame Nkrumah, Pan-African himself, all the way into a dictatorship and being ousted. Niger, Sankara, Gaddafi, Lumumba, and now we got Umar Johnson, who somehow in this Pan-Africanism, Khayyal, logic, and DQ, peace to you. It's funny how Pan-Africanists want you to believe so much of Pan-Africanism, but the guy that the average layman that doesn't watch conscious community they just surf the YouTube, social media. They looking for guidance too, can't forget them. And they got a guy yelling, Prince of Pan-Africanism, that's been taking money for a school. This is what I mean by when the message is disorganized and the leadership is disorganized. They say he's not a leader, but I think he's the most, I don't know, visible person on social media, the loudest fool talking. And this is a person that people follow. They've given money for these schools that don't exist. This is the kind of stuff when I say, so when you say that you're Pan-African, are you saying it to make yourself feel good and feel like you've done your due diligence? Are you personally a Pan-African in your daily life, studying unity and this, that, and the other? Or are you trying to be a part of something that if you really do understand, I respect Professor Small's answer. It's just a concept. I don't even think it truly falls under ideology, but if you want to stretch it to that, but it's just a concept of how you live your everyday life. When you're trying to move forward Africans on the continent and Africans in the diaspora, if you're trying to move forward, that essentially is all Black people of African descent. If you're trying to do that, you cannot do it with a concept and whatever. It's got to be organized. It's got to be something that makes sense so that we don't end up in a worse position than we are now. That's all I'm saying. So when I say it's not real, I don't even like discussing it like it's something, because logic, even you asked Professor Smalls, where's the building? Where's the Constitution? Where is the directives, the leadership? Where? If you're looking to join a gym, you ask these questions. You want me to put forth all of my life, all of my heritage, all of my legacy to one version, another version? So no. And if y'all want to have that conversation, we can. But it's funny how Pan-Africanists, every Pan-Africanist I talk to on here, C-Dot is the next one, they keep telling me that the AU somehow isn't Pan-Africanism. Which is diabolical. It is. I mean, think about it. Pan-African, listen, it is now a thing of the African diaspora and everyone and whatever. Do you know that Pan-African, at the beginning of the definition, it says for the unity of African nations. So you trying to tell me that the African Union isn't Pan-Africanism, but how you wake up and brush your damn teeth every day is Pan-Africanism. Miss me with that is BS. Some of y'all need to turn down your goofy and turn up your reality, and let's deal with what it is. Worry about your family. Take care of your family first. i.e., your wife, your children, your mother, your father, your grandmother, your grandfather. Focus on that. That's something that you can have some semblance of a control. Khayyal is a good brother, but as soon as he log off, I can't figure out what the hell Khayyal is doing, Logic is doing, DQ is doing. You wanted me to unify with 5,000, however many people, but your house ain't even in order. You don't even have life insurance. You don't have a savings account. You don't participate in the stock market because somehow that's against Pan-Africanism. Turn down your goofy and focus on reality and fix the damn potholes. I'm sorry, Logic. I don't mean to be turning up on your show, but I hate listening to goofies. I swear.
What's up, DQ, baby?
Shit, I'm good, man. Tuning in, getting some info, you know what I'm saying? What's up, Khayyal?
What's happening, bro?
Man, I'm good, man. You know me, bro. I just like sitting back, seeing where people's minds is, scoping how people still thinking. Like I said, I grew up in a quote unquote Pan-African household. You know, my daddy gave me the kit as a kid. You know what I'm saying? In the long run, looking back, you know, it's crazy. He had me in there arguing with white teachers, you know, using kind of pseudo scholarship, but still I understood why he wanted to instill a purpose of realizing who you are so they won't tell you who you are. Mm-hmm. So I understood the motive, even though the information might have been off. But now it being 2025, there's no excuse for us not to have the proper information and use the proper information and stop with the romanticism that we do with Pan-Africanism. But that's just my take on it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I'm going to say something. I see psychopaths in the chat, right? And I be respecting where they come from. And I actually gained a lot of respect for Q Butter, Dev, a lot more respect when I got on their panels and realized that they aren't typically saying a lot of the same things that other people come on their panel and say, right? That was a realization for me because I like from the background, it kind of seemed like they were more in support of those of other people version of Pan-Africanism than their own. So what I'm saying that to say, Psycho, you're not the typical Pan-African, right? you are well informed. You've gone past your enthusiasm to become active, right? And you become active long enough, you're around that stuff. You do begin to learn, you know, what works and what doesn't. You do begin to see people actually putting it in action. So you do understand exactly what works in the real world and what doesn't. So this particular conversation wasn't geared to, you know, again, not geared to really attack either side. I mean, either version of Pan-Africanism, but for sure express that, you know, it's time to upgrade some of that. Now, from what I understand, Pan-Africanism is distinct from Black nationalism. To me, from the one thing I definitely learned from sitting there talking to Professor James Smalls for 3 hours was that Pan-Africanism is the practical. Black nationalism was the practical thing that they practiced, right? That was the side of their ideology that said the stuff that you were trying to do in Africa, do here, right? Now, some kind of way, I'm not sure where it seemed that people started prioritizing Africa in that. I don't know how that happened. I'm sure somebody knows that story, and when I find them, I'm gonna try to get them on our channel. But what I'm trying to say is that is the practical thing. Right, the practical thing is absolutely to become more political, right? The practical thing is absolutely to figure out ways to tackle your social issues. Now, for me, the label of what you call that is not as important as the actions. That's it, right? You gave me a name, Amari. What's this guy's name? Sorry, I was just reading about him while we were in the background. Amari Baraka, right? And he opened up a center.
Amiri Baraka.
Okay, I might be pronouncing it wrong.
Yeah, that's no, I'm saying because that's the mayor. His son Ross Baraka is the mayor of Newark.
Okay, yeah. So I'm.
That's why I knew that last name. Okay.
That's Ross Baraka. His son is the mayor.
Right.
Elijah.
I mean, and look, of course, it's kind of falling right into exactly what we're saying is that, like, that is where activism needs to be going in that direction, right? And the only thing that if I'm trying to discourage anything at all today, is let's at least slant activism in that direction, which is attacking our problems here on the land or here in America, rather than trying to incorporate how can we do what we are doing here in Africa. I see that is a stagnation. I think that gets in the way of whatever we're trying to do. And some people do, they put too much emphasis on that, right? They put too much emphasis on, the Egypt part of Pan-Africanism. They put too much emphasis on, oh, we're the first human beings, and we're a superior part of the species, or what have you. However, they actually like internalize that. And I'm not saying it doesn't do them any bit of good, but like long run, it certainly doesn't serve the purpose that they want it to serve, right? It certainly isn't. It isn't fixing the potholes, and it isn't getting mayors elected, right? Like in your particular your example is Amiri Baraka. Like, you're absolutely talking about somebody who got up off his ass, right, and did something. And honestly, even the part where he is incorporating art into it, right? That I love that part because he didn't stop at it has to be African. No, it can be whatever, right? Whatever art you got, bring it, right? We're gonna use that in our movement. I love, right? The fact that it wasn't necessarily, oh, it's got to be this and that rigid part of the structure that doesn't really seem to be necessary. No, just bring what you got, and we're gonna figure out a way to use it. Now, that to me, you go beyond the label, right? Like the you can label that whatever you want to, but it's definitely seems to be more productive and certainly more prudent to our current situations, right? Like that's what we need a lot more of. And I've never heard the guy's name, and I'm glad you introduced me to him because we need to be talking about more people like that. We absolutely need to be shedding light on more people like that, studying what they did, and that's what we need to be replicating. We need to be making more Amiri Barakas. We need to be making what'd you say his son name was again?
His son's name is Ross, R-A-S.
Yeah, we need to be producing more of those, right?
Mayor of Newark. He's actually running for governor. I support him because I'm tired of Murphy out here. We can get rid of him. So yeah, Ross Baraka.
I learned about Ross Baraka through the Joe Budden podcast because they based in New Jersey. So when they bring up certain current events, I hear his name.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Stand-up guy. So Logic, what you want to do? Are you wrapping up?
Oh yeah, I'm just about wrapping up. We don't have nobody hitting the panel. I think we got really far into the conversation. We're leaving off on a really good note. Right? We added some positivity at the end to it. We do have an example of a black nationalist doing something political in Newark, New Jersey, and I think we need to celebrate those. Like those are big wins for us, right? We're so far behind economically in dealing with, so many issues that we have to overcome just to like stay afloat, not even get ahead, right? That we like when I see us giving ourselves more adversity, it pains me to see it. Like I hate to see my people going through it in that way, right? Because it speaks to me. It speaks that the problem has become so big that you need to find an indirect way to address it, right? Because you feel that these direct means don't work for you, right? Which means that you feel like you go unheard. You feel like you go unseen. And like honestly, to humans, like that's a big deal. Right? I'm sure y'all got ladies out there, right? How your lady start acting when she feel unheard, unseen? She start cutting up.
Yes, sir.
Like all people deal with that, right? And that we're not excluded just because we're men. You know, when things are important enough to us, we want to make sure we are heard. We want to make sure we're seen. And some, you know, in all intents and purposes, activism has structure, right? They've basically put in line these particular procedures in order for you to get things done. And if you don't know what they are, you wouldn't go to them. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
we certainly need, see, like we demonize, in my opinion, this is my opinion, I see it, with the way that, you know, sometimes we can demonize that same system that does oppress us at times, is that we still need to figure out how we can use that as a tool to possibly get what we want. Let's not exclude that because our relationship with it has been a little chaotic and toxic at times, right? Let's not exclude that, right? Let's take some of these victories and attempt to build upon them, right? Rather than, oh my God, and I don't think a lot of us do this on purpose, but let's not, you know, seclude ourselves into these pockets of pretending like it, you know, slavery never happened, right? Let's not, you know, subject ourselves to these misnotions about what we can and cannot accomplish in today's America. Like we need to demonize that stuff. Like what they were demonizing back then was necessary for them then. I think today we need to demonize those type of talking points and completely get rid of them. They don't do us no good. In my opinion, that's my 2 cents. I see that as taking options off the table from a group of people who already have limited options. Like we need all of that, all of it.
Yeah. One thing I see a comment in the chat I kind of want to address though. It's for A.T. Oliver. His comment saying we need generational wealth secure the future, and you are absolutely right. The only thing about wealth is that everybody can't be wealthy, and we got to come to that realization that if everybody's not wealthy, that's not necessarily a problem because there's no society in the history of the world where everybody was wealthy, right? We have to understand that. And a lot of times when we have this romanticized idea about what Black liberation is, it's always tied to unlimited wealth. And that's not realistic way of thinking. Your job as a man or a father or a leader of your household is to make sure that your family is not part of that lower class, and to get yourself as close to that wealth and into that wealth. And some people will make it successfully, some people won't. But your fight is that, you know what I'm saying? And for those that don't make it, lay down a ladder, but keep your fight going forward, because when when we stop moving forward as the people who are successful, I'm not saying me, I'm saying like just a metaphor, right? When the successful stop moving forward to pull those behind them forward, nobody moves forward. You know what I'm saying? So you got to keep pushing forward because you're opening up doors. You're giving that younger generation that's looking for motivation a source of motivation to keep going. You know what I'm saying? You are being that representative that says, oh, wow, okay, we could do this. And don't allow somebody's inability to get to the front of the pack determine how fast you run your race. So you got to run the fastest race that you can. And is Brad's job to run the fastest races he can. Is Lottie's job to run the fastest races you can. And it's Oliver's job to run the fastest races you can. And if we all finish at the same time, that's great. But I'm going to still celebrate with my family. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not going to feel bad because I did a good job. You know what I'm saying? And that just me being real. And you shouldn't feel bad if you beat me because guess what? I'm competitive. And next time I'm going to come see you. You know what I'm saying? And that's the mentality that we got to have. Is we got to have a competitive mentality because we don't live in socialism. We all understand that. And if you want the things that you want out of life, that the wealth that we're talking about, ain't nobody going to give it to you. You got to go out and take it. You on mute, bro.
Yeah, man. If you've ever filled out an application for a job, you're competing. You're competing with other candidates for that position to be able to, to be able to feed their families. And in all reality, the best resume wins. Typically, let's put it like that. We're not talking about necessarily outliers, but that is how you need to approach it. Other than that, you could be talking about factors that you may not be in control of, or factors that your resume doesn't ultimately resolve. But if you are in position to be filling out resumes, you are competing, right? And it's you owe it to yourself and your family to compete at the highest level you can. I mean, that's really all there is to it. You can address those grievances obviously along the way, and you're gonna have them. We all do. So if we're having a conversation about those, let's do that in a way where we're separating it from, okay, I don't like let's separate the solutions from the grievances, right? Just let's not exacerbate these problems by making them making the solution basically unattainable, right? Racism is an adversity. It's not like a 1,000,000-foot high brick wall, right? There are people getting it done in spite of,
Yep.
which means the obstacle is in their way and they succeed in spite of, right? If we want to talk about outliers, be one of those outliers, right? I mean, what else is there to it? Like, even our little YouTube channel with the millions of other YouTube channels out there, whatever, we have 19 people viewing it in spite of there being other channels out there live. We were able to do what we can do. Now, the harder we work, we'll turn that 19 to 19,000, and that's really all it is. Like, I could sit here and exacerbate the problem and concentrate on the other million channels that are live getting more views than me, or I could keep plugging away. It's almost a simple decision, and it's just that it boils down to being just that simple. You got to keep going. You got to.
Well, on that note, I ain't got nothing else that can top that. I'll humbly bow out. I appreciate the invite, man. Great conversation. I apologize if the slides wasn't completely in order. I would just
stop it, man. You did great.
Like 20 minutes.
Nah, man, we got to do some more of these, bro. Like, because I think our communication styles, I think that works really good too, right? We were up here for a very long time before curse word even came out. It looked really professional. It was a constructive conversation, right? I think the only way it could have got any better is that if we had some more things to disagree about. But the reality is we don't, right? In this particular topic, like, it wasn't really a back and forth. We got two people kind of speaking, to the same spirit of the conversation. But it was great. It was great. It was professional. I enjoyed it. And we got to continue to have these conversations. Like, it needs to be something that we ringing a bell right here, right? I feel like it should have been rang a long time ago. And to some degree, I hate that I had to come along and do it, but somebody got to do it. You know what I'm saying? I know that there's more people, that there's people out there that care just as much, that are just as smart, just as capable, and were either drowned out or just weren't brave enough to come up and speak out, right? And I feel like I'm not the first and I won't be the last, but we need more people to continue to encourage us to think critically, right? To continue to push, or at least push the notions that there are some things in this that we can use, and there are some things in there we can't. Right? It's not necessarily all about Pan-Africanism. We're now making the sweeping statement, like, all these rhetorics, right? All of them should be re-examined. They should be open for re-examination, right? That shouldn't immediately disqualify me or my love for Black people or how much I want to see our community move forward. It shouldn't, right? But depending on what circles you're running, it could.
Look, that's something that I was taught through athletics, right? Like, the first thing that you got to do is evaluate your situation. Like, so if you were ever in a situation in life, you got to understand your current surroundings at all times. In the next play, you got to do it again. You can't base how you run this route right here off the last way that cornerback lined up on you, because now the now is more important than the past, because the now is what you got to work with to get your future end result. So if I run my route based on a nickel coverage and they in a white or two over the top coverage, then I'm running the wrong route tree. You know what I'm saying? And like, these are things that we got to be more aware of. And to kind of tie your point back with James Small conversation, and also Brother Reggie brought it up a couple of times. He was like, back in the day, they said they need to reevaluate Pan-Africanism. We do too. You know what I'm saying? We're not gonna take the evaluation that they did 30 years ago and apply it today, because we're in a different society today. We got to reevaluate that every time we get an opportunity to ensure that we are doing the correct thing and running the right route and on the right path. And that's how things work in real life.
Right. Nostalgia isn't exactly what we're looking for. We're looking for efficiency. We're looking for effectiveness, right? Like at the end of the day, our environment is changing almost every day right now because of how Capitol Hill is working. No one can predict what Donald Trump will do next month.
Shit, tomorrow.
Right. So you may need to adjust, right? What worked yesterday may not be what fight that you thought was important yesterday may not be what's important tomorrow, right? That we might literally need to be moving that fast or have an idea or plan that's that flexible, not so rigid, right? You have to, because you don't know what's coming. You know what I'm saying? How are you going to protect yourself? How do you protect yourself against legislation?
You write it.
You get what I'm saying? You
write the fucking legislation. You know what I'm saying?
There you go. You got to use your voice effectively. Even you can have the conversation about protecting yourself, from legislation, but you don't do it without other people writing something down. You need more paperwork, right, to deal with the legislation. You might need your local politics to help you with that, but let's not put ourselves in a position where we're up against the wall on the federal side, and then we're up against the wall on the state side, right? We didn't let Trump get in office, and we didn't let the white people put a white governor out there, a white mayor out there, a white treasurer, and none of these people hold your best interests in heart. Well, at some point, what am I complaining about if I don't go and do something to change that?
Exactly.
Yep. So look, man, that's my closeout. You got anything else you wanted to be able to say?
Nah, I'm good, man. Whenever you need me, man,
we definitely gonna do some more. I gotta bother you now. This was too good. Yeah. Yeah. But I appreciate y'all, man. I definitely appreciate it. Drop a like on your way out. And I wish y'all the best, man. Have a good week.
I do got one thing. If anybody is ever interested in getting into IT or needs some assistance, one thing that's huge right now and is a desperate need is infrastructure. There's going to be a huge demand for infrastructure. The water infrastructure is I'm sorry, I'm taking me somewhere else, but the water infrastructure is rated A through F. Right now in America, the United States of America, the best country in the world, our rating is a D+. And we should be at a D- by the end of 2030. So that is showing you the demand that's happening. This is why you see when you drive down the highway, you see all those roads, they digging up pipes. Right now in America, I think it's 12 or 13% of the U.S. of America, as advanced as we are, we have wood pipes under the ground. Wood.
That sounds like bacteria.
It sounds like a disaster waiting to happen. This is the same thing that happened with Flint, Michigan. This is the same. Well, I mean, it was a lot more issues, corruption and stuff. Jackson, Mississippi, Atlanta, Georgia, Nashville, Tennessee. The older the cities are, these infrastructures are crumbling beneath our feet. The same way with electric grids, gas, all those things are in desperate need, and they're looking for people, bright, brilliant minds like ourselves to come in there and assist. These are jobs like IT infrastructure. These are welding opportunities. These are opportunities dealing with logistics. So if you got trucks or you a driver, all of these things are readily available right this very second, and it will be available for you for the indefinite future, as far as we can see out right now, because it's in dire need. If you on the road a lot, I'm sure you've seen them working on the highways and the roads, stuff like that. All of these things are crumbling at a rapid rate. So if you interested in new fields or you don't know what to do and focus your life on, infrastructure is a key thing, and also IT, and also medical field, but the usual stuff. But yeah.
I'm definitely gonna invite Khayyal to come back on. I like his takes on stuff. And I like how he articulates it. I could disagree with Khayyal and still, enjoy the conversation, because it would just be a conversation. It wouldn't be an ego contest or pissing contest. It would just be a regular conversation. So I definitely appreciate the energy, man, and that provides clarity to the message. You can allow people to just focus on what I said, how boring it was, or how effective, whatever. But you certainly won't be missing the point of what the conversation is, right? That's what it's really about. And that's really all I got, man. I appreciate y'all. Everybody's not going to necessarily like it, but if people are that interested, I think we could be at least be a healthy distraction, right? A healthy form of whatever it is that they're getting out of this. You know what I'm saying? Let's we could. That's too easy, right? That part of it is too easy. So that's all I got, man. I appreciate y'all coming by, and we're gonna see y'all next time.
Enough said.